Hi everyone, Day here, and welcome back to my Let's Play of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Within our last episode, we learned that Susato-san, our dearest friend, and also our judicial assistant, has planned to return back to Japan, our homeland, because her father, it turns out he happens to be sick in some fashion. So the Chief Justice, whose name escapes me at the current present, he informed her of this. Alone. So now we're going to lose our judicial assistant. With that said, we also have a potential murder case on our hands. I don't know if it is going to wind up being suicide on Wendy Banks' part for some reason. You know, because he was threatening to do that for most of our time of knowing him. It could just be a setup, like he killed himself already. And they just decided that, you know what, we kind of wanted to get rid of Gina for some reason. And so we went to pin the crime on her. That was a theory I had swirling around in my head that I'm throwing out there. But there's also just us having to defend Gina. We're going to most likely have to do that by ourselves. Iris may or may not be with us during that time. When the time comes for us to actually appear in court. But yeah, this case is getting... It's going to be definitely multifaceted, for sure. So with that said, I'm just going to hop back into it. Usually when I press continue, it will take me right back to where I left off, which there should be no one left in this particular room. Exactly. And so we will leave. And shall return to St. Sinner's Hospital, where I hope Sholmes will be here. So we can finally officially speak to him. Though it doesn't seem as if that's the case, so we'll continue moving on. 16th April, local prison, cell 13. Oh, Gina returned. Ah! Hello again, Gina. There is no way she should have time to load this up. What are you lot here for now? To have the muzzle of that grenade launcher shoved in our faces yet again, obviously. Duh, most likely. I think I need to improve the way you load ammunition to that thing, don't I? Look, you can come as many times as you like, but I ain't got nothing more to say to you. Gina, I wonder if you might hear me out. There's something I'd like to say. What? I'm sorry to say that I must reluctantly bid you farewell. Hey, farewell? Tomorrow, I must begin my journey back home, to Japan. I fear we may never meet again. Oh, right. I've had the pleasure of meeting so many lovely people here in London. I have so many wonderful memories, and yet, as things stand now, it will be a glum parting indeed, for Iris is so miserable. Susie? That was so loud, sorry. Well, that ain't my business. Both Iris and Mr. Naruhodo believe you to be innocent, Gina. They've put their faith in you. But somehow, you can't find it in your heart to put your faith in them. Yeah, that's right. I can't. What of it? It grieves me greatly to have to say goodbye to my friends, where they are so clearly unhappy. Because of you. What? It's my fault? Yes, so I have one final request, Gina, or our paths never cross again. Right here and now, I want you to show both of them that you don't deserve the faith they've invested in you. Eh? Only by doing that will you truly be as alone as you claim to be. With a smile on her face. What are you talking about? What do you expect me to do, eh? You've told us that everyone lies. So prove it by admitting one of your own untruths. What about what you said before, Ginny? You said something about unforgivable lies. For some reason, I completely forgot that Iris voice I gave her. You must tell Mr. Naruhodo and Iris the truth now. That is my last request before I leave. My last request as a judicial assistant. No, I can't. Whatever these lies are, they're obviously weighing very heavily on Gina's mind. Gina, I could be wrong, but is this something to do with what happened 2 months ago? Something about that trial? She helped McGilded escape, didn't she? I know he has to be alive. If he's not alive, obviously, egg on my face. But I just feel like he has to be alive. There is no way he died in some dang omnibus fire. The one in which Magnus McGilded was acquitted. The case of that mysterious murder that took place inside the omnibus. You were called as a witness by the prosecution. Is that what this is about? Yeah, you're right. Because in that trial, I lied. I lied like you wouldn't believe. Woo! Oh my gosh, I'm about to start crying. Like, I don't know why I get so emotional at certain parts, but man, will you tell us about it now? She says she lied like you wouldn't believe. Like you said, it all happened 2 months ago. The cops got hold of me and showed me in the witness stand. And based on your testimony, Mr. McGilded was declared innocent. Yeah, well, the thing is, I lied about a whole bunch of stuff. I knew it. What sort of thing did you lie about? Oh man, what did you lie about, Gina? Knowing him in general? Like, I mean, I don't know. I was residing under the seat that night. That was the truth. Okay. It was pitch black in that little cubby hole. I couldn't see a thing. And then I heard that loud thud, like someone falling on the floor. That's when Mr. McGilded discovered you. Yeah. He pulled me out from under the seat and set me next to the dead man. There weren't much light to see, boy, but when I looked at me hands, I had the gove's blood all over them. I was so scared, I couldn't even speak. You had his blood on your hands. In other words, it was Gina that the witnesses on the roof deck saw through the skylight. I don't remember the case. I don't remember that case in full enough anymore. So I guess that was a little bit of confusion on our parts at some point. Then Mr. McGilded started asking you questions, I suppose. Who you were, or why you were hiding under the seat. Yeah, he did. Only, that's not all. What do you mean? I mean, he threatened me. Threaten you how? I'm not surprised. He doesn't seem like a good man. He made me swear about what I seen and what I'd heard. And about what he was going to do after the gove was found dead. He made me swear I wouldn't tell no one about any of it. If I did that, he'd said he'd let me scupper off before the cops showed up. Seems like a fair trade for Gina, you know? Never knew the man in the first place. Gina, you must tell me what he swore you to secrecy about. What you saw, what you heard, everything. Oh my gosh! 3 new openings. What you saw. That's fine. You said Mr. McGilded made you swear not to tell anybody what you saw. But you were in the pitch black compartment under the seat the whole time, weren't you? Oh my gosh, this is getting good. Yes, with Mr. McGilded sitting above your head, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's true, but it was when I heard the thud of the gold hitting the floor. And I had a little scream, see? Couldn't help it. McGilded heard that and dragged me out by me on. And that's when I saw it. It was on the floor next to the old geezer where I'd been stabbed. A disc, all bright and shiny. A disc. Do you mean? Yeah, that's it. The one what the D took off me at Windybucks. So the music box disc was there on the floor of the omnibus? Not for long. McGildet spotted it straight away. He picked it up all smartish and stuffed it inside of his pocket. So that disc was in the omnibus 2 months ago at the scene of Mr. Mason's murder. I'm telling you, that calendar is gonna come into play. I don't know in what way, but he said that he changes it at midnight every day. And the bog trotter told me. I went to mutter a word of it to no one. Like, maybe I don't know, maybe he, like, glued the wrong date back up or something. I have no idea, but I feel like the date is going to be wrong somehow. What you heard? Because it is so dark under the seat in the cab. I was straining my ears the whole time. After a while, I heard the door and footsteps inside the cabin. Presumably, that was Mr. McGildet getting on board. Not only him. Oh? Because I could definitely make out the footsteps of 2 people. News to us. In that case, it would seem likely that it was Mr. McGildet and the victim. Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. In his testimony during the trial, Mr. McGildet claimed he slept during the carriage ride. When she said she lied like you wouldn't believe, she was not lying about that. But whenever I'm in the carriage, I'm taken with the fierce tiredness and I always succumb to it. Yeah, he had an Irish accent too or something. I gave them both Irish accents for some reason. Your own testimony, Gina, supported his. Of course, he coached her, basically. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. Yeah, that wasn't exactly true. Neither of them was asleep. I could hear them talking the whole time in loud voices. What? What were they talking about? Sorry, I don't know. The sound of the horses and the whistles was too loud. But that still tells us something. Mr. McGildet and the victim knew each other. This... I don't know what to believe yet. So McGildet was lying, as I suspected. That's why he felt so bad about the case. And after the event. This is the part that I'm curious about. I knew that it wasn't going to take long before someone raised the alarm about the bloke had been killed. Yes, you were quite right. The other passengers on the roof deck noticed very quickly. So when the cab came to the stop, McGildet told me to hide back under the seat again. I climbed in and waited. The 2 cops from up top ran off to get the coppers. Yes, Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First, that was his name. Right? And after they'd gone, McGildet asked the driver to do them a favor. A favor? Now then, fella. What I need you to do is take this coat of mine and deposit it with a nearby pawnbroker. And for your troubles, let's see now. I'll give you 10 guineas. A nearby pawnbroker? You mean on Baker Street? One in the same. Yep, you got it. It was Windy Banks. The coachie snapped up the money and ran off to pop this coat as fast as he could. So then there was no one left in the garage. McGildet opened the box under the seat and let me get out of there, but not without conditions. I see. McGildet's conditions. Don't like that. What were McGildet's conditions then? For letting you go free, I mean. Not telling a soul. Not for anything. About what I saw and what I heard. And there is something else as well. There's more? But wait, there's more. Call 1-800. Save Gina. Yeah, this is the most important thing, he said. I'm at the sending the coachman on a little errand for me, with some small change in his hand. Now then, did you hear what I asked of him? Did you see anything at all? You'd ask me. Wait, you asked them to go pop your ears or what? Pop your weasel. The Finn's taking me over go to the visit with the pawnbroker hereabouts. I want you lass to take the redemption ticket for it. You understand? He's alive! Like, I cannot stress this enough. This guy is totally 100% alive somewhere. What? You want me to have the ticket? That's right. And I'll come fetch it from you later. Sometime within the next 2 months. That part doesn't seem to have come true. At least on the surface level. You're to hang on to it until then, is that clear? And whatever you do, don't lose it. Alright then. In case it might happen to be delayed at all, you're to go to the pawn shop, Windy Bank so it is, and you're to extend the loan after the 2 months is up. If you forget, the article will be forfeited and any old Finn could come along and buy it. Hey, but I ain't got that kind of brace. It's £5, that should be enough. Do we understand each other, lass? Don't try anything funny now, if you go against me. Yeah, I get it. Good. And one more thing. In a few days from now, you'll be visited by the police, I've no doubt. The coppers? Aye, they'll come asking ye to take the stand in court to testify as a witness. So let's just have a wee chat about that, shall we? What is it that ye might say, and what is it that ye want? Like, I really hate doing two almost similar accents back to back. It gets a little confusing. Then on top of that, they're giving me two silhouettes to look at. I know they're different people, but man, it makes it difficult. After they'd gone all over it all, I biked it, got as far away from there as I could. He aired the pawnbroker's ticket in some bushes near the scene. I went to fetch it the next day and once it got dark. So Matilda planned it and coerced Gina into giving false testimony. Like I said, he was 100% guilty. That was obvious. But man, I didn't see this. I bet you're ready to shrink me up, I know. I lied in that big old courtroom. I told you some corcus. I mean, you did what you had to do to survive, I suppose. I wouldn't trust my gilded. It's kind of difficult to choose the right thing in that kind of case. Like, how old is she, 16? The thing is, he said he would make it so that we couldn't live in the East End no more. That's what he threatened me with. That we couldn't. Hey, hold up. That mean? We? What the What a wicked man. He knew everything. Man. It's so difficult. He knew everything what went on in the back slums. He knew we had no one to look after us. And we was all just looking out for each other, getting by together. Say me, Mr. McGutter would have. In a heartbeat, he could have a lot of us chased out of there if he wanted. And then where could we have gone, eh? Nowhere, that's where. So, I did not have no choice. Thank you, Gina, for telling us everything. But, I'm for it now, eh? Go on, admit it. You must be livid. Well, you can make amends by doing me a simple favor. A favor? What? Sign the representation papers for tomorrow's trial. Eh? If you don't actually want me to represent you in court, you can rip it up later. But we need that paperwork or we can't investigate. The police won't let us. Investigate what? The scene of the incident last night. Mr. Sholmes was shot, you see. Dude, what? Ellie's having a big operation right now, Ginny. Is it bad? Is it gonna be alright? Sholmes is gonna be alright, right? That's why I want to investigate. For Mr. Sholmes' sake as much as anything. Right. So what you're saying is, if I sign that bit of paper, everybody's happy. Is that it? Something like that. Mr. Susato? Yes, of course. I have the representation papers here. I don't need no one to stick up for me though. No lawyer or nothing. I know how true that is. We all need someone at one time or another. Whether we feel like we do or not, whether we want it to be true or not. There are times where, granted, you kind of want a certain type of person at that time, you know? Not everyone can help you. Poor Jenny, she seems so lonely. Paperwork signed by Gina to put me in charge of her defense. Showing this to Scotland Yard detectives gains us access to the crime scene. Well, at least this should mean we can investigate the scene at Windy Banks now. Yes, and perhaps we could come back to visit Jenny when we're done there. I'm sure we will. I feel like we finally cracked Gina. She's opened up to us at last. And now I have her representation papers. No one else knows just what a responsibility that is. Anyway, now it means Inspector Gregson can't stop us investigating at Windy Banks. Although, it tells me he's not going to be happy about it. It's kind of just his typical mode of operations, I would say. I wonder how long this case is truly going to be. Like, this is the first time we actually get some thorough leg to the ground investigation going on here. I'm so excited and I just can't hide it. I know. Here. 16th April, 1:26 p.m. Windy Banks, Pawnbrokery. Here we are again at the scene of the crime. Now to thrust these representation papers in Gregson's face and see what he makes of them. Hello again, Inspector. Do you have a minute, please?
What is it now? You should go home and get some rest.
Here you are, Gregsy. You have the representation papers.
Your ladyship! How? I don't believe it. How the devil did you get that stubborn little ragabash to sign that?
Ragabash?
I salute you. That is good what that is.
I can see you've been very busy here as well. How about some tea? It's a special blend designed to relieve fatigue.
Ah, lovely. Well, let's see now. Yes, I hardly feel tired at all. I'm fit as a filler, your ladyship.
Would it be alright if we investigated the scene of the crime then?
Do as you please. You know where it happened. Through that door behind the counter.
Thanks to Iris, this is going way easier than we thought. It's pretty much a cakewalk. Yes, the storeroom. That's where I discovered Mr. Windybank and Gina, who was curled into almost a ball-like fashion.
Right, well, I'll be getting back to business then.
Will you be investigating the storeroom as well, Inspector?
If I'm perfectly honest, we need to wrap this up before long. Can't afford to spend too much time on it. But there are so many articles to go through. It's taking forever, even with the lords working round the clock. Which is a problem, cause there's another case the yard needs to investigate urgently.
That must be what Lord Strongheart meant by far more serious matters before.
So what I'm saying is, don't get under my feet, sunshine.
But I love getting under your feet oh so much. Come then, let us not waste any time. Okay. Examine. Go to the storeroom. I kind of want to talk to the people, kind of don't. I just want to get some legwork going for now. Behind that door, it's a storeroom, isn't it? That's what Grexy said. Yes, and that's where I saw that dreadful scene last night. Through the little window in the door. That reminds me so much of a cat door. Just want to throw that out there again. I mean, the way he's positioned, it looked like they may have opened that window and just shot from, like, inside. Mr. Windybank, face down on the floor with Gina beside him. It looks so staged. As the accused's legal representative, you have the right to examine the scene, Mr. Naruhodo. You must make a thorough investigation. Yes, of course. And we will. Behind that door, that's the real scene of the crime.
Don't worry. If there are clues in there, I'll find them.
Can I just... Okay, there we go.
Can linger here a little longer, I think. What, Mr. Windybank?
Yeah, he was an eccentric fellow, but he was not a bad fellow. 16th April, Windybank's storeroom. So there is no way this was a suicide. I can't see how he could have possibly shot himself. I was kind of hoping he would make it to the end, but ever since the beginning, once I realized what his character was like, I kind of figured that this was going to be his ultimate end, sadly. Poor Iris. She's clammed up completely. Iris is bound to find this difficult. After all, Mr. Windybank's life was taken in this very room, only last night. I know. I really wish you didn't put it into that perspective. Gregson? Oh! That was kind of weird. Wait, Inspector!
What is it now, Sunshine?
You like calling me Sunshine. You took one look at me and tried to run away.
You think a Scotland Yard inspector would run away from some jumped-up little defense lawyer, do ya? I guess well. I've never seen her ladyship looking like that before is the thing. I didn't know what to say to her.
You weren't running away from me. You were running away from a 10-year-old. I'm afraid this is all a little much for young Iris. Some gentle reassurance might go a long way, perhaps, Inspector.
Hey?
The more I look at Iris's outfit, I love it.
Don't trouble yourself unduly, your ladyship. I mean, at least you're not dead, are you?
Hacked, Inspector Gregson. Right now, it's such a small thing to be happy for when, we're at a crime scene, you know? That kind of perspective doesn't help. I don't think that went very well. I don't think he said the right words.
Why? Look, well, I'm in the middle of an investigation here, Sunshine, and I told you not to get into my fate.
And we have investigating to do ourselves. Yes. I'd like to hear more of what the socially inept inspector has to say. Socially inept.
Oh, Hurley!
And inquire into how Mr. Sholmes's operation is going. The scene of the crime, sir. So, Inspector, what do you make of the crime scene here?
Pshaw! You've got eyes, haven't you? Use them. It is what it looks like. Nothing more, nothing less.
I'm pretty sure we could find more. Iris, could you lend me a hand?
So, Grexy, what do you make of the crime scene here?
Oh, yes, your ladyship. Do allow me to humbly explain.
Gregson, come on.
Last night, shortly after the hour of 1 o'clock in the morning, Scotland Yard police attended the scene.
Last night at shortly after the hour of 1 o'clock. And he changes the calendar at 12, right? I want to keep that in mind. I feel like that has to mean something.
The one and only door to the storeroom was found locked from the inside.
So it was locked from the inside. He just said that. We were completely repeating exactly what he just said. The lock appears to be broken now, though. Was that the police officers doing?
Quite right, ma'am. Quite right. We took the liberty of smashing the door in, as humbly as possible.
Oh.
As you can see, the victim was discovered prostrate on the floor, on this rise. And next to the aforementioned body, we discovered the vile gutter child.
Are you talking about Jenny? She's my friend, you know, Inspector.
Miss Lestrade, the hapless girl, was curled up on the floor, dead to the world.
She's still alive, you know? I think he meant that, like, maybe figuratively, I hope. I know some people say that, like, when they're sleeping. So, I could kind of see what he meant. Yes, when I saw her, she appeared to be unconscious.
And I'm afraid to say she had the gun that was used in her hand.
No.
Planted. Presumably, it's the gun that's still down there on the floor now.
In her pocket, we found the key to the door as well.
The cat. I'm calling there was some kind of animal involved in this. Why? Because, I don't know. Just the door, I guess. Like, there was a way that they could have gotten an animal from out of here. What? The key to this storeroom? Now this is really making me think about Master Detective Rain Code. I really don't want to spoil that game, though. So I guess I'll keep my mouth shut. Just in case people do eventually want to play that's watching this. I don't really want to get into... Because I feel like that's super spoily territory. And you say the storeroom had been locked from the inside, Inspector.
Correct. All of which leaves her ladyship's friend. It's something of a sticky situation, I'm afraid.
Oh, Jenny.
Obviously, my personal opinion is that it's all some sort of misunderstanding.
Of course it is, Inspector. Of course it is. Isn't that what we kind of hope too, if we're going to represent her, potentially? Chums' operation?
Grexy, do you know anything about Hurley? Is the operation finished? Is Hurley alright? Is he?
Well, the thing is,
Don't miss your words, Inspector. Please. Let me see. I've been meaning to turn up the volume just a little bit more. You don't mean that Mr. Sholmes is...
No. The operation's done and dusted. It's just that, well...
Out with it. She is gonna Susato toss you.
Yes, ma'am. They use something called a general anesthetic. It's the latest thing, renders the whole body insensitive.
So, the whole body? Wait, it's not anesthetic sized, is it? Anesthesia side? I don't know. Is that even possible?
It means the operation can be completed while the patient is fast asleep.
I mean, I know that. That word just did not look right to me. Goodness, in the Empire of Japan, we can just manage to provide laughing gas for a tooth extraction.
The trouble is, the latest thing isn't always the greatest thing. Follow my meaning. They couldn't get the medication to work at first, so it took hours for him to do it off, or sort of here. Now that the op's finished, they can't get him to wake up, apparently.
Oh my. So he's kind of like a guinea pig for them then, right? New medicine and testing it out and stuff.
No one knows if the anesthesia is still in his system or if the bloke's just plain exhausted. But anyway, all they can do is stand back and watch until he comes around again.
Hurley.
And when he opens his eyes, your ladyship, I swear I shall get word to you.
What a surprise. Even in matters of life and death, Mr. Sholmes has to do things his way. That's it? I guess we do have to examine. The police have marked the position of the body with a chalk line.
Well, Mr. Winterbank, that's a nice young man.
Well, he was shot just once through the heart. Most likely the fellow died instantly. He wouldn't have felt a thing.
Hmm.
Aha! I may well be able to help with that.
What?
There's nothing like the sight of blood to get the blood pumping, is there, Reno?
I have a feeling I'm not as bloody-minded as you, Iris. I'm afraid the sight of blood makes my blood run cold.
There you have it, you say? When it comes to blood, we're all different types.
Yes, what a scientific observation.
So you need this.
Oh no, what is that scary-looking thing?
Ellie and I haven't actually come up with a name for it yet. But as soon as you say it in action, you'll understand exactly what it does. Watch.
Oh, the color of the bloodstain has changed. I thought it was like luminol at first, but
There, does it make sense now?
yes, I think I'm starting to understand.
Good. It works on the principle that different people have different types of blood, you see?
Yes, how wonderful.
Chemical it fires combines with the blood, it makes it change colour. You can identify whose blood it is that you're looking at it in the flesh.
Oh, what a fabulous invention, Iris.
Isn't it? Isn't it? That Jenny would like to see it's bleeding great.
So whose blood are we looking at then?
This must be Mr. Winterbank's blood.
Yes, this is where he was shot, so there can't be any question of that. It's going to turn out to be a very valuable clue, so we simply must make a note of it. Sample of blood and analyzed with a special chemical indicator developed by Mr. Sholmes. Different people's blood turns different colors. Let's keep testing and adding the results of any other blood analysis to the portfolio.
As long as I have reagent left, sure.
Reagent, yes. Yeah, reagent. Totally read that wrong. Now what? Look at all these articles that have been deposited. The room is stuffed full of them.
I can't believe how many there are.
Bicycle, gramophone, musical instruments, and some enormous paintings. Look. Pieces of different people's lives quietly gathering dust in here. Together. There's something very peaceful about the atmosphere in here. Or at least there would be, if not for the chalk outline on the floor and the policemen shuffling around.
Not much I can do about that, Sunshine.
Yeah, open box. But of all the articles in this storeroom, this is the only thing that shows any sign of being ransacked.
Ah!
What is it, Iris?
That's the box file that my manuscript was being kept in.
Interesting. How does this add up? I don't know. Oh. Iris's unpublished story, The Hounds of the Baskervilles. Surely that's not what all this...
Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he stole it. Without telling you.
You must check inside the box. At once.
Yes.
It's gone.
Ah!
It was there. Iris' story was there. Really? It was? That's good news, isn't it, Iris?
Yes. I mean, of course, I believed Helly when he said he deposited it here, but still, it's really to actually say it.
Really? Because that's not a very well hidden frown. Remember how I figured it was strange that Sholmes didn't come in to like investigate this by himself? Which, you know, he's used to doing things alone. I wasn't sure if that had any like pivotal meaning or anything, but Now I'm starting to think maybe it did. Like, I want to say that he returned it here. Possibly. Like, Sholmes put it back here. And not necessarily... Okay, this is obviously just a theory. But, okay, so Sholmes returned it. Maybe he didn't even shut the case lid or whatever. But that was the whole reason. At that point, after he got shot, he was like, check the storeroom. It's definitely in the storeroom. And at that point, I'm like, dude, you just got shot by 2 culprits out here. What makes you think something happened in the storeroom, you know? Or maybe he wanted the manuscript to be found or something. Like, that was his way of trying to get us to discover it. I don't know. That's just a theory. But it does seem kind of sus that the box is here, the manuscript is here. It could have been read, it could have been touched or tampered with, but it's still here. Or it could be forged, I guess, but I highly doubt it. Iris' story manuscript, a long unpublished story that Mr. Sholmes deposited at the pawnbrokery of the victim, Mr. Windybank. It's entitled The Hound of the Baskervilles. Something still doesn't sit right with me, and I'm pretty sure Iris knows it too. She says that she's able to pick up on lies though. But can she pick up on lies if they come from Sholmes himself? She said that there are times where she felt like she doubted him. So maybe? I don't know. So far, that's pretty much my leanings. This is a revolver, a real one. And quite possibly the murder weapon used to take Mr. Windybank's life.
What's the matter, Susie? You really look like you're about to faint.
Well, it's just that I've rarely seen a gun in the flesh. And I've had issues with guns in the past. But anyway, we saw Mr. Windybank with us yesterday, didn't we? Or the one he kept threatening his own life with. I shall have to save my own life. It must be the same gun. And last night, when I looked through the spy hole in the door to the storeroom here, that was the same gun I saw in Gina's hand. They didn't collect it as evidence? Is that not something they do quite yet? It's just intriguing that the gun is actually still on the floor, you know? Mr. Windybank told us that he only ever had a single bullet loaded in his revolver. Didn't he? Yes, he did. I feel like that's gonna play a role too somehow.
Well, it's empty now. No one and only bullet he had in his gun has been fired.
We can be fairly certain that only a single shot was fired from this revolver. Not necessarily. It depends on where the bullet was located, right? I'm not familiar with revolvers. But when I played Danganronpa, what was it? The second Danganronpa, the guy literally tried to shoot up, like Russian roulette, right? You could shoot, but nothing could happen because it's not loaded in that, the bullet's not loaded in that spot. So we don't necessarily know for sure that they only tried to fire the gun once. What was that dude name? The ultimate lucky student that nobody liked. I can see him. He wears a green jacket and everything. That all? Wait a second. Iris?
Oh, lady. Am I right? So we must find the true culprit.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it looks like there's not really much else I could look at in here. Go back, I guess. Is there anything I could present to this guy?
Is that what I think it is? Your ladyship's latest?
That's my latest story. It's called The Home of the Baskervilles.
Ah, a most fascinating title, your ladyship. Fascinating. And I don't suppose. Would there be any mention of my humble self in your tale this time?
A question I can't really remember.
I say. Well, why would you, your ladyship? I'll just await its publication with eager anticipation.
You needn't worry, Inspector. I'm sure if you do appear, you won't be doing anything particularly remarkable.
You looking to be arrested, sunshine?
I didn't mean it like that. Even if I did, you wouldn't have bitten her ladyship's head off, would you? I like how he pulled the chips back out. Inspector Gregson, could you give me your opinion about this, do you think?
We don't tend to share sunshine, not with the general public.
Ah!
In that case, Grexy, have us an herbal tea.
I keep saying herbal when I should be saying herbal because I'm pretty sure they say H's over there.
That hit the spot, it did.
Close enough.
I love Lady Todd very much. That really hit the spot.
Close enough, like I said.
Your ladyship.
You don't mind sharing that then? Don't need to show him all that. I don't think. We're going back to the hospital. Nope. Not quite yet. I guess maybe I should talk to like try to talk to one of these men here. Oh, wrong thing. Otherwise, I have no idea. The police are scouring every inch of this place by the look of it.
Instructions for the yard are to examine every article in the shop and every ledger and book of accounts.
Every article? But that's a ridiculous amount of work, surely.
We've been hard at it ever since the shop was declared a crime scene in the early hours. We're sifting through it all in shifts at least, but still, we'll be working through the night, that's for sure. Even there, we'll barely have scratched the surface.
A crime in a pawnbrokers. It must be every policeman's worst nightmare.
It's every copper's worst nightmare. You know, a crime in a pawnbrokers.
There's the article ledger. And Mr. Winbank's notes. And what's this? It looks as though someone has left a little photographic print behind. Oh, look on the back. There's some writing.
Is there? Oh, show us, Susie. Show us.
I thought it was gonna be blood. I was like, oh, there's gonna be a blood print that we can analyze. 15th February, 10:30 p.m. Article deposited. One gentleman's overcoat. Loan amount paid. £1. Redemption deadline, 15th April. Gentleman's overcoat pawned for a pound. Clearly it was a very fine coat. In fact, I think...
Yes, this must be the ticket for the overcoat that Jenny redeemed yesterday.
And is still wearing, which belonged to Mr. Begilded. I would never have expected the redemption ticket to be handwritten on the back of a photograph, though.
It seems Mr. Winterbank used whatever piece of paper he happened to have on hand.
Shut up. It brings about... Did I ever check this? No, I didn't. Look at the back of this print here. There's something written on it. 13th February, 9 p.m. I deposited one small box. Loan amount paid, 10 shillings. Redemption deadline, 13th April, 9 p.m. Wait a second, this is something different. I thought it was the same ticket, but without this blood stain, but no, it's something that was deposited 2 days before the McGilded case. Interesting. So we got this from Gina, right? Huh. So this photographic print is a redemption ticket for an article that was deposited 2 days prior to the incident on the omnibus it was seen. Right. Yes, a small box. That doesn't tell us much about it, does it?
Perhaps Perhaps it contains valuable mementos.
Can't help wondering. Presumably, Mr. McGill never redeemed the article in question. Since he still had the ticket. Isn't it possible that the box is still present somewhere in the shop? Ah, yes. Something McGill deposited. We need to investigate. A redemption ticket issued from the pawnbrokery owned by the victim, Mr. Windybank, in the form of some handwritten notes on the back of a photograph. Interesting. It's like, until I saw that, I didn't even think about check. I really need to start getting on top of my evidence. But this photograph of a cat looks very familiar, doesn't it? Sure, I've seen this exact same picture somewhere else recently.
Oh, yes, you're right. Very recently. It's the same as the one Jenny gave us earlier.
Of course, I was forgetting that she gave us that prep. But what are you waiting for then, Mr. Naruhodo? Get it out. All right. Let the cogs turn. It's not exactly the same, is it? The cat's in a little bit of a... The cat looks like it's in a little bit of a different position. You know? Like, look at the ear of the cat. Like, no matter what, in a photograph is a photograph, right? Like, you barely notice any, like, movement. But the cat is in a slightly different spot. And it's like even the space around the cat is different. Like, I'm pretty sure, maybe, I don't know if she means like the cat is exactly the same cat, or if she means like they're like exact replicas, because the picture is not an exact replica. There is slight nuances to these photos that make them different from each other.
I've got it. These two photographs hide an amazing secret.
Secret? What does she mean? That Mr. Windybank owns a cat. You must tell us, Iris, at once.
Do you really want to know?
Yes, we need you to tell us all you know about this pair of photographs. Pair of photographs. So, Iris, about these two photographic prints. The one we found here on Mr. Windybank's counter and the one Gina gave us before. What is this amazing secret you mentioned that's hidden between these two identical prints? Not fully identical.
Actually, that's not quite right.
Sorry?
If you look carefully, the two prints aren't the same. Not exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I noticed that. Too many hidden pictures in my life for me to actually say otherwise. They're not?
Have another look at them now.
Like, the snow print, the ear of the cat is different. Like, it's closer to the bush over there. Like, the tail, like, it was not the same.
You see that they're just slightly different from each other?
I think so. It's very subtle, though. It was subtle enough that I noticed it. What's the reason for the subtle difference between the two prints?
Ah, well, it's because they're set, you see.
No, I don't. That part I don't get.
This pair of photographs. It's meant to be used in a stereoscope. Everyone in London is raving about them at the moment.
I see that thing that we looked at earlier. I was going to say that next, but I was like, maybe not. Stereoscope. Why do I feel as though I've heard that word before recently? Oh, yes. That's what Mr. Shum showed us yesterday. You see? There it is, just over there. Ah, yes, of course. That magical machine that makes pictures look almost real enough to touch.
Well, actually, it's quite possible to see the same depth in pictures even without one of those contraptions.
What? Really?
Do you know how a pair of flat photographic prints can appear to have any depth in the first place?
No, I have no idea.
Oh, wonderful! Then I'll be able to tell you.
She's over the moon, bless her. Should we let her explain, though? We really need to carry on investigating the scene. I, for one, simply have to know.
like it might be very important. But with that importance comes a different day. I'm sorry guys, but I will have to end this video here. Learned quite a bit in this particular episode. I really want her to analyze that fingerprint on the back of that photo though. I want to say that the blood stain is going to be different. Speaking of blood stain, there was something else I figured there was going to be something else that had a blood stain on it. Plus on top of that, something is broken. The lamp is broken on top of the counter. So those two people that were in here earlier, probably the silhouetted people, broke it at some point. And I also wonder if we're going to get a photo from that from the security device that Sholmes installed, because he said even in the dark it could take a picture that will be, you know, a visible photograph. So I can't help but wonder what we could glean from that, because it takes it at the top of every half hour, right? So that means if it happened at 1:30 exactly, which I wasn't even thinking about it at the time, but yeah, if the crime happened at 1:30 exactly, a photo should have gone off at 1:30 exactly. So that I'm curious about too. So yeah, hopefully we get some more information in the next episode. This one is definitely giving us that building block foundation. This is the first case where we're actually doing some digging, some deep diving, behind the scenes, investigating. I know we did it kind of sort of for Asogi's case, but I feel like this one we're really like we're really digging, especially since this kind of ties into a different case, the McGilded case and the omnibus case. There's going to be like a lot of parallels between those two cases, as we're already picking up and learning too. So with that said, I shall end this episode gracefully as possible, and until next time, I hope you all have a great and wonderful day. Thanks for watching and sticking with me, and see you guys later. Bye.